I'm always ready.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Starfyre Gaming. I am Sir Joseph and this is Warhammer 40k Rouge Trader. We are in the Spire here. This is a portal that is supposedly taking us out of this area and back to real space. We never encountered the Space Marine again to convince him to join us. I don't know if that was even a possibility. I don't know. Well, obviously it was a possibility. I don't know what I missed. But we missed it, and so we're going to go into the webway. Maybe he'll be in the webway. Who knows?
With the physical horrors of Camorra behind them, a long and arduous journey, possible only with the help of a Xenos guide, lay ahead for the Rogue Trader and his party. From one strange destination to the next, through unknowable environments, the mere sight of which could drive one to madness. Despite the challenges, they managed to escape the labyrinthian webway and find their way back home.
All right. So we are on Janus, I believe it is. Muraran's silhouette emerges from the dense foliage without disturbing a single blade of grass. He addresses you in an accusatory tone of dissatisfaction. I sensed your mind, Monkey. Why are you skulking by the webway gate? Why have you come to Lilithion in secret? Do you intend us ill, or do you intend ill for us? Upon noticing Eklundiel, Muraran flinches and says solemnly, Brother Eklundiel, I praise Asurian for the fortune of seeing you again. Please step under my protection without delay. Brother Muraran, I do not feel threatened. Not anymore. Muraran looks at Yurliet and says with enmity in his voice, Outcast Yurliet, you walk the path paved with your own misdoings. Once more Monkeys have found their way to our domain, and once more you aid them in doing so. Neither war nor ill intent follow in our wake, Muraran. Your anger is unwarranted. I apologize for intruding upon your hallowed ground. It is where my journey from Komarok has taken me. You come from Komarok? Muraran says, noting for a moment, or says nothing for a moment, then continues, his voice shocked. Now I see. The gate refused to obey me because it was sealed from within. By the Dark Ones, no doubt. The Lilithian was meant to become a slaughterhouse for the Drukhari. Muraran's gaze bores into Yurliet for a few moments, in tense silence, as he considers something in his mind. At last he says in a commanding voice, Your arrival is sudden, outcast Yurliet, but perhaps there is purpose behind it. You will serve your people shortly. How are things on Janus? The Lilithian has been charitable to the Monkey. She bestows special gifts upon some of your servants. She forges bonds with them. This is the first time I have seen our world do so, tolerant of your kind. It reminds me just how much I still do not understand. Alas, your kin do not trouble themselves with contemplating this matter. They fear those gifts by the Lilithian, they despise them, and seek to kill them, and that does not surprise me at all. Muraran's voice grows pensive. The Lilithian's slumber is restless. She has guarded a part of herself away from you. It is what the Monkey call the isolated region. At first, I thought it was the Lilithian's attempt to push you away, so she could heal from the wounds your cold iron had inflicted upon her flesh. But I see something else that is transpiring. A mystery. Do you know anything about my abduction? The news of your disappearance has not reached Janus. My guess is that your close servants decided to conceal this event so as not to beget fear. You said Juliet would serve the Aldari once more. Are you seeking to use her again? Moran grimaces contemptuously. A Monkey cannot comprehend the depths of the tragedy that befell our home, Krudrak. The duty of every child of Asarian is to do all they can to quell the pain of that loss, and Juliet, the outcast, is no exception. Unlike you, Moran, I was able to find the truth. The truth of Krudrak's doom was revealed to me, even though that required me to throw myself into the Dark City's deadly embrace. Juliet frowns and looks defiantly into the Farseer's eyes. Is the fire in our souls not better directed towards worthy deeds than again arguing with our own kin? Eklendiel waves his hand in the air, making several gestures of unknown meaning. Muraran and Juliet fall into cowed silence. I can see that something is troubling your delicate heart, my kinsman Muraran. Share your feelings with me and the outcast then, and I will reveal the truth of Krudrak's fate to you a little later. We did not spend our time on the Lilithian in fruitless grief. On the contrary, our lost kin have answered my call and are now pleading for help. Driven by revenge, they set out to pursue the one responsible for Krudrak's rueful demise, only to end up as captives on a Monkey world. Her emerald green gaze turns to you and rests on you a little longer than usual. Dare I hope that you will lend me a shoulder to lean on again, Elentak? What world is it? That I know not. All that my visions showed me was an infinitely green sea, a living sea, and the maddening thirst of a hunter who was pursuing the children of Asarian. Outcast, your path is taking you towards the stars again. Find our kin, and do not let them perish. Juliet nods silently and leaves it at that, as if she is less interested in Muraran's words than in your reaction. I will help you find your kin. Juliet breathes out almost inaudibly, and her shoulders relax. And I am grateful to you, Elentak. Your kinsman, Eklendiel, helped us escape from Kamarok. Muraran exchanges long looks with Eklendiel, then says gravely, This is where Eklendil's path and yours diverge, Mon-Ki. He will stay with us when you leave. Eklendil nods. I am elated to be once more among those with whom I shared Kudrak's time of bloom, Muraran. Of course. Good luck, Eklendil. Thank you, Mon Elentok. Ah, we made a new friend. An iridescent haze momentarily clouds the world above you, and that moment is all it takes for Muraran to hide Eklendil behind the veil of his xenosorcery. We will speak of my kin's fate no longer. All that was meant to be all that was meant to be said has been said. We will send instructions to our Mon-Ki serve allies to provide you with a means of transportation. Farewell, Mon-Ki. I am pleased that our meeting did not spill blood into Lilithian's womb. The high-ranking officers beam with genuine happiness. Danrock steps forward and solemnly says, "Welcome to the bridge, Lord Captain. Like the rest of the crew, we are overjoyed by your return and thank the Emperor for it." Heinrich von Kallax approaches you. He is not looking his best. It seems he has not slept in quite a while. "Lord Captain, allow me to express how glad I am that you have rejoined us, alive and unharmed." "Shireen, light of my eyes, I am overjoyed to see you among us once more. Truly, the Exalted One is merciful for showing you the way back home. I hope all the Ashmags who left us to languish without our Lord Captain have already become food for the warp demons." "Lord Captain, I'm so glad to see you. I nearly lost it when you up and disappeared on me. I was getting by on stimulants and recaf. I barely slept. Also, I could keep listening to the whispers for any clue on how to find you. The only other time I felt so powerless was when Lady Theodora..." She stops. "Pardon me, Lord Captain. I'm talking nonsense." "First off, how much did you know about my abduction?" "Not much, Lord Captain. All contact with your party was lost shortly after the supposed pirates boarded the ship and abducted your companion's kinspeople. We immediately sent shuttles with boarding parties to your aid, but we could not find anyone on the ship, save for the crew, all of whom had either been butchered or driven insane." Heinrich's gaze focuses on Yurliet. His eyes burn with undisguised hatred and a promise. Yurliet's expression is inscrutable, but her eyes are fixed on you and you alone. "Since your lordship's body was never recovered, we hoped against hope that you were still alive. Alas, even our most alert augur operators never spotted anything suspicious, and thus Our ignominious failure puts you in dire peril. Heinrich's gaze, tense and almost desperate, is focused on you. But he says nothing. For now, at least. Dare we inquire what happened to your lordship? It does not matter. The topic of my disappearance is closed. As you command, Lord Captain. Where has my ship been all this time? The Officers' Council decided to take the ship to Footfall, where one can hear the gossip of the entire expanse. Our agents tirelessly searched for information about your lordship. Had we heard even a whisper of where you were imprisoned, we would have immediately launched a rescue expedition. Speaking is hard, evidently. While you were absent, Lord Captain, we made every effort to find you. That resulted in a number of modifications to the ship that have significantly upgraded it. Thanks to a favorable deal secured by the esteemed High Factum, the ship is now equipped with state-of-the-art auger systems and detection finders from Kiava Gamma. Sweet! That is quite enough fawning and fussing. I wish to return to my duties immediately. Donruck throws up his hands. But the crew is overcome with joy and gratitude to the God Emperor. Nonetheless, your will is absolute. The Factum smacks his lips awkwardly and adds in a quieter voice, Lord Captain, the senior officers will report to you shortly. In your absence, we've received a number of astropathic messages and dispatches that demand your attention. That was an odd way to say demand. Nomos! I forgot about Nomos. The group of servitors suddenly stir, their movements frighteningly identical even for automatons. They stare at you and say in perfect unison, Hello! Nomos have come to welcome you back. We sense that a great deal has been done, a vivid imprint on existence. You did something very important. What was it? I escaped from a dark city of the Xenos and showed them mercy. It suits you. What we see in you, light and connections without the urge to destroy. Did Nomos say it correctly? The servitor chorus, which sounds as a single voice, falls silent. Nomos appears to be waiting for your response, in eager anticipation. I'm glad that you are learning to understand me, Nomos. After a long pause, the servitor chorus responds with unexpected forcefulness. Nomos are glad too. We must go now. We will come to speak with you later. Another pause follows, so long that the silence becomes more piercing than a scream. Then, the servitors finally break it. We felt sadness when we could no longer communicate with you, and we were worried about your fate. One can detect with the naked eye the moment when the Nomos leave the bridge. The servitors stop moving in sync and slowly shuffle off to their posts. Your Lordship, I must report highly compromising information about a member of your retinue, namely Mistress Jai Haidari, who it turns out is nothing of the sort but a commoner, a fugitive from the law, and a deserter from the Imperial Guard. I have solid evidence to prove it. The evidence had better be incontrovertible. I want to know the details. I may have overlooked some nuances, but I have solid evidence that the person whom we presently know as Jai Haidari served in the 19th Afrit Regiment and was identified as the perpetrator of numerous instances of theft and smuggling, as well as desertion. And this individual is not of noble birth, but of the lowest of origins. How did you come to know of this? In your lordship's absence, the burden of watching over the dynasty's treasury fell on my shoulders. I deemed Jai Haidari the likeliest threat to the dynasty's material security. I had my people conduct an investigation, and they uncovered a past connection between Haidari and an individual by the name of Mercy, a highly influential figure in the Kasbalikia mission with a dangerous reputation. Fearing that the predatory interests of the Kasbalikia would pose a threat to your coffers, I began my own investigation. It was entirely reasonable to suspect collusion of some kind between Haidari and Mercy, and my suspicions were confirmed. The two were connected. It was from Mercy's associates that I acquired the compromising intelligence on Haidari. Which one? Let's talk to Haidari about it. I wish to see Jai Haidari. We have something to discuss. Shopped me, did you, you little wannabe quester? Jay's voice and bearing undergo a stark transformation. Biting soldier slang cuts through her typically gentle speech. Don't miss a thing, your servants, Ignatius. And they're sneaky as too. That's a weird way to say that. They'll climb up a Grox's arse to find out what they want to know. I think we need to talk about your past. Only if this scum slings his hook. Jay nods at the now much paler Danrock.
Well, your lordship, ask away. I'll tell it like it is. I'm not going to try to wriggle out of it.
With a wary sigh, Jay gives you a hard stare. So tell me your real story.
So what do you want to hear, Shireen? A children's tale about a beautiful princess? A ballad about a queen of thieves? How about a new story, Shireen? Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived on a sand-covered lump of rock. And the core of that rock contained untold riches for servants of the Imperium. The girl scraped out those riches with her little hands, breaking her back and coughing up her lungs, on behalf of people who had never clapped eyes upon her, and who would never know her name. She did this every day until she turned 16, and then...
Jay cringes at her own words, and with all the crudeness of a veteran soldier, spits on the floor.
Then his servants came and drafted the girl into the 19th Ifrit Regiment. Can you imagine? Of course, the regiment was wiped out on its first sortie. But the girl survived. The Exalted One protects. So what was next? Years serving in the Astra Militarum, just a shitload of hard labor, and fighting, and deals, and shady connections, and new opportunities.
Jay closes her eyes, letting the memory carry her back through the years.
But everything in this world ends sooner or later, Shireen. The now not-so-little girl went and fell in with the Kasbalika. She saved up a little gold, and she even indulged in excess from time to time. Until living the good life almost cost the little girl her head after her patrons got caught in an internal investigation between the Officio Prefectus and Departamento Munitorum. So the girl ran as fast as her little legs could carry her, until her eyes and the beams of fortune brought her to the expanse. A shitty story, all things considered, Shireen.
Do you have a family?
The folks on Footfall are my only family, Shireen. The trickster twins and the rest of the rabble, plain-talking and loyal as dogs. And sometimes as dull as the pommel of a worn-out blade.
Jay gives an indifferent shrug. So you used to be in the Imperial Guard?
Corporal Haidari reporting for duty, sir. I've had enough of the Astra Militarum shit to last a lifetime, Shireen. And my body's collected enough souvenirs from run-ins with Xenos and heretics to last 2 lifetimes. Except, when it comes to the Guard, there's no such thing as used to be. That wretched life sank its claws into me good. But that also means I remember what it's like to be a small, shaking, insignificant pawn. And that's why I appreciate what I have now all the more.
How did you get involved with the Casabilica?
What? You think it's difficult? Once me and my fellow guardsmen snuck into the upper city in search of a good watering hole, where the high and mighty of that world congregated. Another time, our regiment was sent to defend the tallest spires on a hive world. And I had an epiphany. I saw how the other half lives. And by half, I mean the ones born with a diamond spoon in their mouth, instead of an entrenching shovel rammed up their arse.
That's quite a way to say that.
My eyes were open to the truth, Shireen. The Imperium is full of opportunities, even for people like myself. The trick is knowing whose palms to grease, whose boots to lick, whose throat to squeeze, and whose arses to kick. I was very popular with everyone in the Guard Command, you see. I'd procure things for them, whatever they wanted. And so the Kasbalika took notice.
So you are a deserter as well?
You know, Shireen, I could still be bouncing around from one world to another, holed up on tired old ships with only venal grunts for company, if I hadn't decided I wanted more for my life. I accepted a shipment from the Kasbalika of certain chemicals. You know, for carnal pleasures and the like. Some bigwig was throwing a party to celebrate his 5th decade in the service. And that's when I caught the attention of the newly arrived commissar. I was rummaging through the pockets of Astra Militarum with one hand, and shuffling the Kasbalican cargo with the other. You can imagine what would have happened to my head had the commissar not started with my higher-ranked patrons.
Jay draws a thumb across her metallic throat and chuckles bitterly. That explains the lung implant. What about the hand?
It was orcs. Not everything I say is a lie, Shireen.
Jay makes a frustrated gesture. I see.
Whoop the fu- Never mind.
Who is this Mercy that Danrock has accused you of associating with?
We knew each other once. He helped me make the move to the Expanse and establish my first connections. But that's an old story I prefer not to poke at if I can help it. Things are good in my life now, and I don't need mercy.
About your new persona.
Are you worried I'm going to start spitting on the deck and shriveling your officers' ears with my foul tongue? Don't be, Shireen. I much prefer being seen as a princess rather than a deserter. I'll continue to play the part in front of the others, but you wanted to talk frankly, so I've dropped the act.
I think we've covered everything. Return to your duties.
Sir, yes, sir. Your lordship, Shireen. I'll be here, all primed and ready to go.
Jay's lips curve into a faint smile, now that the seal of silence that has shackled her for years has finally been broken. Danrock adjusts his jacket before addressing you. Now then, Lord Captain, shall we get to business? We have a number of items to go over. The Expanse is in flames, your lordship. Squadrons and smaller groups of despicable Drukhari raid our systems. The cult of the Final Dawn has emerged in full force, wreaking havoc everywhere. We've heard rumors of the fall of Santiel's pride, House Chorda's world. An outrageous sacrilege given how abundant and inexpensive promethium is there. Strife has broken out between House Winterscale and House Chorda. Chaos reigns everywhere. Only the esteemed Lord Inquisitor is trying to fight it, concentrating all available forces at footfall to draw them into a fist that will smash the rampaging heretics and Xenos vermin. What kind of Xenos are attacking the Expanse? Drukhari, your lordship. Their squadrons, both large and small, are invading the Expanse, unleashing carnage on planets, taking captives by the thousands, and attacking ships. It is as if something has poked their nest, if you will, and now they're lashing out. I think that was us, maybe, probably, more than likely. How fare the worlds of my dynasty? The heretics' malicious acts make it difficult to maintain astropathic contact with the colonies. The group of the Final Dawn strikes everywhere, and their sleeper agents are active on every planet. On Viabos 6, a mutiny was crushed after a group of newly arrived prisoners succumbed to blasphemous propaganda. But other worlds stand firm against the onslaught of the enemies of humanity and do not succumb to their pernicious influence. So, Xavier Calcazar is leading the defense? Exactly. The esteemed Lord Inquisitor Calcazar has declared himself Warden of the Cronus Expanse and issued orders to requisition troops. He has made Footfall his base of operations, as it was the most logically convenient point. From there, his fleet strikes throughout the Expanse, destroying the forces of the cult of the Final Dawn and the abominable Drukhari. He may be all that currently stands in the way of the Expanse being reduced to ashes. Pardon me. When heretics laid siege to Euphrates II, the hallowed forge of the Cognizance fleet, the Lord Inquisitor sent an enormous force. Now they and the Emperor's squadron, recalled from the front lines, stand together against the heretics in the battle for the sacred planet. What is the source of the strife between Incendia and Caligios? When the esteemed Lord Inquisitor called upon the Rouge Traders to join his forces, her ladyship Incendia Chorda heeded the summons, while his lordship Caligos Winterscale ignored it. Rumor has it that his refusal was defiant in manner. and served as a pretext for Lady Chorda to declare war on House Winterscale. Winterscale ships are being hunted in his worlds occupied under the pretense of compelling them to submit to the Imperial Creed. Surprisingly, for all his love of fighting, Winterscale is in no hurry to defend his domain. According to intercepted astropathic messages, he and his retinue are currently on Quetzal Temer, hunting down a Xenos fleet. Aldari, by all appearances. That's probably where we need to go to find Yurliet's kin. Is there anything else I should know? The Factorum lowers his head in thought. There has been other minor developments. If you wish, I will gladly bring you up to speed on the bridge. I would not want to take any time away from this occasion. Thank you for the report. Lord Captain, Abelard bows his head. Allow me to make a request. A personal one. While you were away, the choir master received an astropathic message from Dargonis. It concerns my family. The Wersarians have been accused of treason against House von Valencia. What? How is that possible? I cannot comprehend it. The Seneschal shakes his head helplessly. The Wersarians have served the Rouge Trader dynasty loyally for generations. This is hard to admit, but the news has come as a crushing blow. The accusations were leveled by or on behalf of the Drivestems, the governing house. Under normal circumstances, the investigation would not have required your involvement, and my entire family would have been but bearing of noble stock, the Waristons are entitled, under the ancient customs, to petition for a rogue trader's personal protection once in a generation. Your personal protection, Lord Captain. Abelard raises his gaze to you. Do not deny us that honor. I implore you. Tell the choir master to send a message to Dargonis saying I will personally take part in the investigation. Abelard breathes a sigh of relief and seems to grow an inch or two taller. It will be done, Lord Captain. A lot of people talking to us here. The deer hurriedly enters the study, sniffling and haunching her shoulders. Her looks haggard. There are bags under her eyes. Her hair is disheveled, and her hands quiver slightly every few moments. With some effort, she focuses her eyes on you and forces a crooked smile. Thank you for agreeing to hear me out, Lord Captain. Here's the deal. After all that happened recently, the voices in my head suddenly flared up and started gabbing worse than before. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm handling them just fine. But I think I know a way I can get them to settle down a bit. I keep having the same vision over and over again. I'm walking down a corridor, and there's a door at the end. And I just know that right behind that door is blissful silence. All I have to do is reach out and open it. So I touch it with my fingers. I feel cold, rough metal, and then suddenly snap out of it, and always find myself staring at a wall in some compartment or other. I look behind me, and all the doors on the way are open, but I have no memory of how I got here. Lord Captain, I'll cut to the chase. Please help me find that door. I'm not joking. This is a matter of life and death. My gut tells me it's my last chance to deal with my powers. And if I don't, she trails off. We will find this door. give you my word. Some of the darkness in Indira's eyes clear, and her smile widens just slightly. Thank you, Lord Captain. I knew you wouldn't leave me in a bind, and as soon as we're close, I'll let you know right away. The Exalted One blesses the house of Von Valencius for your largesse of spirit, Shireen. And thank you for deigning to speak with me. Jay turns unusually hesitant, now tentatively choosing the words that only a moment ago rolled off her tongue in an unprecedented cascade. Here's the thing, Shireen. My network of trade representatives has been stretched a little too thinly recently, like a chiffon dress on a whore. Supplies are all over the place. Orders aren't being fulfilled. Clients are kicked off, and without reason, the revenue's plummeting. And if that wasn't bad enough, my guys are running things from footfall have been incommunicado recently, and an astropathic message has finally come in to tell me why. Some ashmag, or ashmags, throw and smite them, has captured my gang, and they're threatening to kill every last one of those hard grafting whelps if I don't do what they want. And they only want one thing: my Mercatum Tabula Officiale in exchange for my gang's life. Jay tosses her thick mane of hair and grits her teeth, looking more vicious than you have ever seen her. But I'm not giving up my certificate for anything. And nor am I going to leave my guys high and dry. That's why I'm begging for your help and protection, Shireen. If I have to step into a cage of hyenas, I'd rather do it with a lion at my side. Toleman did not say who sent the message. Shireen, you know yourself, all this astropathic chit-chat is nothing but a stream of images, thoughts, intentions, nothing concrete. But I don't need to know the name of the sender. I already know it. I smell Falco stench all over this. Or else, it's Vladium's doing. This is just the damned Ashmag style. Azzy take him. When we reach Footfall, I will help your associates. I look forward to that day, Shireen, and praise be the Exalted One for bestowing such a miserly portion of haughty indifference upon your heart. Enough, Xenos. Justice will be done, one way or another. Heinrich's voice drips with venom. Slither all you like, heretic spawn. You will never leave this ship unscathed. They do not like her. The bridge is enveloped in an unusual silence. The officers on duty are huddling in the corners, looking on curiously at what is transpiring in the center. What is going on? Catching sight of you, the curious crew members dash to their posts, leaving only the senior officers in the middle of the bridge. For how long are you going to tolerate this filth on your ship, Ignatius? This foul traitor who has already dragged you into darkness once, and who almost left your protectorate without its sovereign. Rogue Trader, Heinrich's voice makes your blood run cold. Has Aldari heresy clouded your judgment? Treachery always means death, either for the traitor or the one betrayed. You almost died in Kamarok. Your retinue, you know what became of them. Is it not high time that justice be done? Those present nod wordlessly, but do not dare interfere. Juliet does not react to the curses being slung at her. With an imperturbable expression, she watches the crowd before her, then turns her gaze to you. Anyone else want to share their thoughts? You know, Lord Captain, I will support any order you give, but to keep the Xenos in the retinue, especially after everything, Abelard casts a tense look at the lower bridge. After everything that has transpired because of her, it would not be wise. The enemies of humanity have no place among humans. You know this. Cassia's hands shake a little and she clenches her fist. But death is far too merciful of a sentence. What I endured was far more terrible. The heinous behavior pattern of the Xenos entity and of specimens similar to her statistically leads to unfavorable and unpredictable outcomes. Juliet surveys the crowd. Juliet will now apologize to everyone who was harmed by her deed, and that will be enough. Juliet's face contorts in a mix of emotions, from anger and hatred to dejection and despair. But soon she musters her courage and is stilted. And in a stilted, barely audible voice says, "My words will not heal the wounds to your bodies, and still I regret what you had to endure because of me. Words will not fix what has been done." The interrogator grips his weapon, but he hesitates, shifting his tense gaze from you to the Xenos and then back. The Xenos' apologies ring hollow. There is neither repentance nor truth to them. Disappointed by the outcome of the confrontation, the officers present slowly return to their duties. Are you all right? Juliet shrugs unnecessarily. Your Monkey have had it worse. I will live, and the wounds of my soul will eventually heal. They will live too, but their souls will forever bleed painful memories. I would have never left you in their mercy. Juliet smiles slightly. Of course not. You are you. They will forgive you. Not all of them, and not right away, but they will. Stop it. You cannot believe that, Ellen talk. I do not need words of comfort. The words of these Monkey do not touch my soul. Only your thoughts matter, yours and mine. Do you really not care what happened? Or are you trying to conceal your true feelings again? I am sorry that my mistake led anyone along the paths to the Dark City. I can see their pain and rage. I understand, but words and pity will not help them. Only time, and perhaps revenge, which will dull the pain for a little while. But you have taken away their chance for revenge, Ellen Talk, and all we can do now is wait. It's time to get back to work. Yurliet nods, gestures elegantly before leaving. Until we meet again, Elentok. May the darkness scatter into a myriad of new stars before you. Alright. Finally through all the talking, let's go check out the star map here. See if anything has changed. Points of interest. We have Mighty One. Now we should be able to punch the Savannah world, the magnetic storm. Go to Footfall. Uncharted System. Quetzaltamir. Targonis. Alright, so these are still out of... Oh, that's the siege. They're still out of range. Alright, so we got a couple quests we can do. Let's look at our journal real quick. There are a ton of things on this thing. Holy smokes. Oh, these are the contracts. Quests. Okay. Go to Footfall. That'll deal with the Inquisitor. Hunting Grounds. Companions, the Incident. Wait. That's for Nomos. Talk to Yurliet. Find the world the Eldari are stranded on. Visit Dargonis. Find the world from Madiri's visions. Company J to Footfall. And talk to those guys. All right. Well, let's go ahead and call it here. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. As always, like, subscribe, and comment. I've been Sir Joseph. You guys are amazing. Until next time, stay safe out there. And I'll talk to you later.